Hi, I'm Sarah. Today I'm going to read you the story of Clara, which is titled like this. I invited my parents to a little housewarming party, but they dined with my sister and her family instead. Your apartment is terrible. I was alone, but my grandma walked in and gave me an amazing gift. When I posted its photo, my phone buzzed with calls. Well, here goes. Hey everyone, I need to get this off my chest. My name's Clara. I'm 31, and I just went through something that's got me questioning everything about my family. Let me start from the beginning. I work as a middle manager at a trading company. Nothing glamorous, but it covers my expenses. For 8 solid years, I saved every penny I could to buy a place of my own. I always dreamed of having my own space, my own kitchen, my own little corner of the world. So, I'm still renting, still saving, when my friend Jessica calls me. She's been a realtor for over a decade. Clara, she says, I've got something you need to hear about. There's this apartment, and the owners are desperate to sell. They're moving to Texas next month. They need it gone fast. And I'm thinking, okay, what's the catch? Because there's always a catch. It's way below market, Jessica says, like really below, but it needs work, a lot of work. Now here's the thing about me. I don't mind getting dirty. My dad taught me how to use tools when I was little, and I actually enjoy fixing things. Painting, hammering, all that. It calms me. How much work are we talking, I ask. Pretty much everything, she says. Old kitchen cabinets, outdated bathroom, cracked paint, scratched floors. But the bones? Solid. She sends me photos and the price. Holy crap. It's half what other places in the same area cost. Sure, it looks like it's stuck in the 80s, but I can see the potential. Great layout, nice windows, good size. I want to see it, I tell her. We meet there the next day. The place is a mess. No sugarcoating it. The previous owners hadn't done a single upgrade in decades, but it had charm. And more importantly, it had space. Real space, not the shoebox I'd been living in. What do you think? Jessica asks. I walk through the rooms, already picturing how I'd redo everything. I think I'm nuts, but I want it. The mortgage process was hell, but I got through it. I didn't tell my family anything, my parents, my older sister Rebecca, or her husband Mark. I wanted to surprise them. Rebecca's always been the golden child. She's 34, married to Mark for 5 years, and their wedding was this massive event my parents practically funded. They're at my parents' house every Sunday, acting like the poster couple for perfection. Me, I pop in when I can, but work keeps me busy. My parents, Tom and Linda, are decent people, but they've always put Rebecca on a pedestal. She got help with her wedding, help with the down payment for her house, help with everything. I've been on my own since college, and that was fine, because now I finally had my own place. When I closed on the apartment, I was buzzing with excitement. I could barely sleep. I had keys to my very first home. That whole weekend, I sat in the empty rooms, dreaming about what I'd do first. I decided to tell everyone the next Saturday. Rebecca and Mark always had dinner with our parents on Saturdays. Perfect moment for my big reveal. I show up just as they're finishing the main course. The smell of Mom's pot roast hits me as I walk in. Clara, Mom says, standing up to hug me. Just in time for dessert. We're eating apple pie, Mom's specialty, and I can't hold it in anymore. My heart's racing and I'm smiling like a goofball. I have something to tell you guys, I say, putting down my fork. The table goes silent. I bought an apartment. You could hear a pin drop. They all stare like I just said I'm moving to Mars. Mom reacts first, throwing her hands up. Clara, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you say something? I wanted it to be a surprise, I say, still smiling. I pull out my phone and start scrolling through pictures. Look, it needs work, but it's got so much potential. Rebecca's closest, so I hand the phone to her first. She looks at the screen and starts laughing. Not a happy laugh, a mean laugh. Oh my God, she says, showing the phone to Mark. You seriously bought this? You've got no taste, Clara. My smile falters. What do you mean? Mom takes the phone, looks at the photos, and sighs. You should have taken Rebecca with you. She has an eye for this kind of thing. Then Dad chimes in over her shoulder. The apartment's terrible. Mark chuckles, handing the phone back. Well, it suits you, Clara. It feels like someone sucker punched me. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. They were supposed to be proud, excited. Instead, they were mocking me. I can feel tears stinging, but I won't cry in front of them. I sit in silence for another 5 minutes, listening to them move on like nothing happened. Then I stand up. I should get going. Already? Mom asks, without any real concern in her voice. Yeah, I've got stuff to do. Nobody tries to stop me. I drive home in silence. No music, no podcast, just the hum of the tires on the road. When I pull into the lot of my new apartment, I just sit there, staring at the building. Eventually, I get out, walk to my door, and step inside. And that's when I lose it. I slide down the door and cry, ugly cry, the kind that leaves you breathless. 8 years of saving, all that hope and excitement, crushed in 2 minutes. No taste, terrible apartment, suits you. Mark's words echo in my head like poison. I cry for a long time. Then, something shifts. I get mad. Really mad. You know what? To hell with them. This is my apartment, bought with my money. They didn't help. Not with the down payment, not with the search, nothing. And now they think they have the right to judge me? No. I look around. Yeah, it needs work. But it's mine, and I'm going to make it amazing. So that's exactly what I did. Every day after work, every weekend, I poured myself into this place. I painted walls, ripped out old tiles, scrubbed layers of grime, updated the bathroom, tackled the kitchen, refinished the floors. It was hard, backbreaking work, but I loved every second of it. This apartment was becoming everything I had imagined. Every stroke of paint, every fixed fixture, it felt like healing. A month flew by in a blur of progress and pride. I didn't call my family. They didn't call me, and that was perfectly fine. By the end of that month, my apartment looked incredible. Seriously, it was modern, clean, full of personality, everything I had dreamed it would be. I stood in the living room one evening, breathing in the fresh paint and lemon-scented wood polish, and thought to myself, you know what? It's time to show them. Part of me wanted to prove them wrong. Prove that the terrible apartment they mocked was now a place anyone would be lucky to live in. I know that's not the healthiest motivation, but I was still hurting, still stinging from how they'd made me feel like trash, and they were still my family. This was a big milestone for me, and I wanted them to witness it. So I decided to host a housewarming party. I sent out texts to Mom and Rebecca. Hey, I'm having a housewarming party this Saturday at 5 p.m. Would love for you to come and see the place. Can't wait to show you what I've done with it. I added my new address and hit send. 2 hours later, I got replies. Short ones. Mom, we'll be there. Rebecca, hey, sure, we'll come. No excitement, no congratulations, no, do you want me to bring anything? Just cold, flat confirmations. But at least they said yes. That was something. Then I picked up the phone and called the one person I really wanted to come, my grandmother, Grandma Rose. She's my dad's mom, 78 years old, lives about 20 minutes away. We've always been close. When I was little, I'd spend weekends at her house. She'd teach me how to bake cookies from scratch, show me how to tend her roses, tell me stories about when she was a girl. She was my safe place in that family. Grandma, it's Clara, I said the moment she picked up. I have news. You do? She said, perking up. Tell me everything. I bought an apartment. Oh, sweetheart, that's wonderful. Tell me all about it. We ended up talking for over 30 minutes. I told her everything, how I found it, what I'd done to it, how proud I was. She asked all the right questions and told me over and over again how proud she was. I'm having a housewarming party this Saturday at 5, I told her. Can you come? I'd love to, she said, but I might be a little late. I've got some errands that afternoon. Is 7 okay? 7 is perfect, Grandma. That call left me feeling lighter than I had in weeks. The rest of the week, I prepped like crazy. I ordered food from this amazing Italian restaurant, all their favorites. Mom loved their chicken parmesan. Dad always got lasagna. Rebecca couldn't get enough of their Caesar salad. I bought wine. I bought dessert. I cleaned the place top to bottom. I even picked out fresh flowers for the dining table. By Saturday at 4:30, everything was ready. The food was warming in the oven, the wine was chilled, and the apartment sparkled. I kept checking the time, peeking out the window, rereading the texts. 500 came and went. No one. 5:15, nothing. 5:30, still no one. Maybe they got lost. Maybe traffic was bad. I double-checked the address I'd sent. It was correct. By 6 o'clock, I started calling. First Mom, straight to voicemail, then Dad, voicemail, then Rebecca, then Mark. Every single call, straight to voicemail, not even ringing. By 6:30, I was spiraling. Where were they? Then, at exactly 7 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Hi, Clara. We're having dinner with Rebecca, Mark, and his parents at Chez Laurent right now. It's much more pleasant than being in your terrible apartment. Hope you understand. I stared at the message for what felt like forever. Chez Laurent is the high-end French place downtown, the kind of restaurant Rebecca always begged to go to but rarely could afford. Before I could even finish processing what I felt, another message came through, this time from Rebecca. A photo. It was all of them, Mom, Dad, Rebecca, Mark, and Mark's parents, sitting around a fancy candlelit table, glasses raised, smiles wide, dressed to the nines. The caption? Family dinner, so much better than expected. It was like being gutted. I broke down, again. But this time it wasn't anger, it wasn't even shock. It was that deep, soul-crushing grief, the kind that seeps into your bones, that screams, "You were never enough for them, you never will be." I sobbed for a long time. Then I went to the kitchen and started eating the cold chicken parmesan, the one I'd ordered for my mom. I ate it by myself. I sat at the table with the flowers and the wine and the desserts and the silence. About 30 minutes later, there was a knock at my door. I'd forgotten. Grandma Rose was supposed to come at 7. I wiped my face as best as I could and opened the door. "Grandma," I said, trying to sound like I hadn't just been sobbing. "Clara, sweetheart." She held out a gift wrapped in silver paper and smiled. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was awful." She handed me the gift. "This is for you, for your new home." Inside the wrapping was a crystal vase, heavy, elegant, stunning. It looked like something out of an antique shop. "Grandma, it's beautiful, thank you." She peered at me. "Have you been crying?" she asked. "Your eyes." So I told her, everything. The text, the party, the silence, the photo, the insult about my apartment, everything. Her expression changed as I spoke. Her jaw tightened. Her eyes darkened. I'd never seen Grandma Rose angry before, not like that. She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. "I'm calling your father, right now. I'm going to tell him exactly what I think of his behavior." But then she paused. Put the phone back. "No, I have a better idea." She looked at me with this quiet fire behind her eyes. "I know exactly how to make them regret what they did to you, Clara." "What kind of idea?" I asked, wiping my cheeks. "Come sit, honey," she said, patting the couch. "There's something I need to tell you." I sat down beside Grandma on the couch, still holding the crystal vase. "Clara," she began, "that vase isn't the only gift I brought you tonight. I've been watching you for years, sweetheart. Watching how hard you work, how you save, how you do everything yourself. You've never asked anyone for anything, not even me." She reached into her purse again, and this time pulled out a manila folder. "Your sister, on the other hand," she said, "has been handed everything. Your parents paid for her wedding, $30,000. Then they gave Rebecca and Mark another $15,000 to help with the down payment on their house. Meanwhile, you've done it all alone." She handed me the folder. "Open it." My hands were shaking. I opened the folder and saw legal documents inside, official-looking papers filled with lawyer language. I flipped through them until something caught my eye. An address. Not just any address. It was the address of Grandma's country house, the one by the lake, the house where I'd spent summers as a little girl, the house where I'd learned to fish off the dock and roast marshmallows by the fire pit, the one I hadn't visited in years because of work and distance and, honestly, emotional distance from the family. "Grandma, what is this?" "It's yours now, Clara," she said calmly and firmly. "I transferred the deed to your name last week. The house by the lake is officially yours." My mouth dropped open. "What?" "It's worth about $400,000. Paid in full. Right on the water. Still in excellent condition. I've been keeping it up just in case I ever needed to pass it on. And now I know exactly who deserves it." I started crying again. This time, not out of pain, but gratitude. Overwhelmed doesn't even begin to cover it. Grandma sat back on the couch, looking at me with so much love. "I was going to make the announcement at your housewarming party in front of everyone," she said. "And then I was going to give Rebecca $250,000 in cash as her gift. A house for you, money for her, balance." My eyes widened. She nodded. "But they didn't show up. They couldn't be bothered to support you. They chose a restaurant over you, so Rebecca gets nothing." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Grandma, are you serious?" She didn't blink. "Dead serious, and that's not all." She reached into her purse again, this time pulling out her checkbook. She wrote out a check right there on my couch. She tore it out and handed it to me. I looked down at the amount and almost dropped it. "It was made out to me for $250,000. This," she said, "should be enough to pay off most of your mortgage. Your monthly payments will be practically nothing." I was crying so hard I couldn't even form words. Why? I managed to choke out. Why are you doing this for me? Because you deserve it. Because I see you. I see what your parents refuse to see. I know how hard you've worked, how much you've endured, and because I won't stand by and let them humiliate you without consequence. She stood up and smoothed her skirt. Now, she said, voice sharp, I want you to take a photo of us, right now. Me holding those house papers. And then I want you to post it online. I blinked. What? Why? She gave me a fierce smile, not her usual sweet grandma smile. This was a woman with a mission. Because your family is about to learn a lesson about what happens when you treat people like garbage. So we took the photo. Grandma held up the deed and I held up the check. We smiled for the camera, genuinely. I posted the picture on Instagram and Facebook with a simple caption. My amazing grandmother just gave me the most incredible gift, her beautiful lakefront country house. I'm beyond blessed and so grateful. Within minutes, the notifications started rolling in. Likes, hearts, comments. People from college, old coworkers, neighbors, everyone congratulating me, saying how amazing it was, calling me lucky and blessed. Grandma looked over at my phone and nodded with satisfaction. Perfect, she said. Now we wait. She stayed for another hour. We didn't talk about the others. We just talked about the house, my apartment, the renovations, life. When it was time for her to leave, I called her a taxi and walked her to the curb. She hugged me tightly. I'm proud of you, Clara, she said. Never forget that. After she left, I sat on the couch for a long time, just holding the house papers and the check, still in disbelief. A few hours ago, I was crying over cold chicken parmesan, wondering why I wasn't enough for my family. Now I owned a lake house and had a check in my hand that would nearly eliminate my mortgage. I went to bed that night feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. The next morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing nonstop. It was barely 8 o'clock a.m. on a Sunday, and I already had 17 missed calls. 17. All from Mom, Dad, Rebecca, and Mark. Then I remembered the Instagram post. I smiled and turned my phone on silent. I wasn't ready to deal with them yet, not after everything they'd said, done, and not done. But the calls didn't stop. Every few minutes, another one. Then the text messages started. At first, they were vague. Mom, Clara, I don't know what you told Grandma Rose, but you need to fix this right now. Then they got angrier. Rebecca, you're such a selfish bastard. That house should go to someone with a family. Dad, your grandmother has clearly lost her mind. We're coming over to talk some sense into you. Rebecca again. You probably manipulated an old woman into giving you her house. You should be ashamed of yourself. I didn't reply to a single message. I just took screenshots. Every single one. Especially the ones where they insulted me, questioned Grandma's mental capacity, or made accusations. Throughout the day, the messages got worse, harsher, more desperate. They called me manipulative, ungrateful, toxic, said I didn't deserve the house, that I took advantage of an old woman, that I was tearing the family apart. I didn't flinch. I just kept saving the receipts. Around 4 p.m., the pounding on my front door started. I checked the peephole. Mom and Rebecca were standing outside, furious. They banged harder. Clara, we know you're in there. Open this door. I didn't open it. I just spoke through it, calm and cold. Sorry, you're late for my housewarming party. And besides, I thought this apartment was too terrible for you. Rebecca's voice shrieked through the door. You don't need that house. You don't even have a family. I'm pregnant, Clara. I need that house for my baby. I laughed, loudly. Congratulations on the pregnancy, Rebecca. Still not giving you my house. Then Mom's voice came through, sharp and bitter. Then we don't consider you family anymore. I didn't miss a beat. That's your problem, not mine. Then I turned up the TV and walked into my bedroom, leaving them banging on the door. They eventually gave up. A few days later, Grandma called me. Clara, honey, I'm having a little family meeting at my house tomorrow evening. Can you come by around 6 o'clock? Her voice was sweet, but there was steel behind it. I'll be there, Grandma. When I arrived at her house the next evening, I could already see them through the window, my parents, Rebecca and Mark, sitting stiffly in the living room. They looked uncomfortable. Good. I stepped into the room, and before I even had time to sit, Rebecca jumped up from her chair. Grandma, she manipulated you. She made you give her that house. Sit down, Rebecca, Grandma said firmly. I called this meeting. I'll do the talking. Rebecca sat back down, scowling at me like I'd stolen something from her personally. Grandma stood in front of all of us. Her presence, even in her 70s, commanded the entire room. I gathered you all here because I have an announcement to make. She looked straight at my parents and then at Rebecca. Your behavior at Clara's housewarming party was disgusting. Absolutely inexcusable. Now wait a minute, Dad tried. No, Tom, you wait. Her voice sliced through the air. You promised your daughter that you would come celebrate her accomplishment. Instead, you went to a fancy restaurant and sent her a photo of yourselves having a grand time without her. We didn't think, Mom began. No, you didn't think, Linda. That's exactly the problem. Grandma looked at me, then back at them. I was going to announce the house gift at the party, and I had also prepared a check for $250,000 for Rebecca. Rebecca gasped. You were going to give me what? Grandma didn't even blink. $250,000. But since you couldn't be bothered to show up and support your sister, you get nothing. This is insane, Rebecca shouted, standing up. I'm pregnant. It's not fair that she gets everything. Grandma stayed perfectly calm. Life isn't fair, Rebecca, but it's especially unfair when you treat people like garbage and still expect to be rewarded. Mom and Dad were speechless. You can't do this, Mom finally said. Rebecca is pregnant. She needs more help than Clara. Really? Grandma raised an eyebrow. Did Rebecca save for 8 years like Clara did? Did she renovate her place by hand? Or did you pay for her wedding and down payment while Clara got nothing? Silence. Nobody answered. I thought so, Grandma said, sitting down in her favorite armchair. And let me make something very clear, she added. I still have plenty of property and assets, and I can easily remove people from my will. You could have heard a pin drop. My parents and Rebecca looked like they'd been slapped. I'll be watching each of you carefully, Grandma said, and I can revise that will anytime I want. Rebecca was now crying again. This isn't fair. This isn't fair. I finally spoke. You know what's not fair, I said, standing up. Getting texts calling me manipulative. Getting told I don't deserve anything. Being accused of taking advantage of Grandma. Rebecca calling me a bastard. I pulled out my phone and opened the screenshots. I held it up for them to see. I saved every message, every insult, every time you said Grandma lost her mind. Grandma leaned in to see, her face turned stony. You said that about me? No one spoke. Well, Grandma said, I think my decision about the will just became even easier. They didn't say much after that. Mom, Dad, Rebecca, and Mark eventually got up and left. No goodbyes, no apologies. Just shame. Grandma and I stayed behind, sipping tea and talking for another hour like nothing had happened. The next week, I went to the bank and deposited Grandma's check. Just like she said, it paid off the vast majority of my mortgage. My monthly payments dropped from $1,500 down to $300. Suddenly, I could breathe, really breathe, for the first time in years. And once that was done, I took a drive out to the lake house. I hadn't been there in so long, but it was exactly how I remembered. Maybe even more beautiful. The trees swayed gently in the breeze, the dock stretched out across the water, and the air smelled clean, like pine, soil, and distant campfires. It didn't feel like a hand-me-down. It felt like home. The very first thing I did when I got there, I changed the locks. I knew for a fact my parents and Rebecca had keys. I didn't want to risk a surprise visit. This place was mine now. Not theirs. Not ours. Mine. I walked through each room slowly, taking it all in. The kitchen with the old tiled counters, the creaky floors in the hallway, the loft bedroom with the slanted ceiling where I used to sleep as a kid. It was all still here, untouched, waiting for me to come back. And now it was mine forever. A few weeks later, my phone rang again. It was Mom. I didn't block her like I had the others. Part of me just wanted to see what she would say. Hi, Clara, she said. Her tone was overly sweet. I was wondering if you wanted to come over for dinner sometime next week. Just us. Maybe we can talk. Try to move past all this? I almost laughed. Move past all this? We were never close, Mom, I said. You only want to talk now because you're afraid Grandma's going to cut you out of her will. That's not true, she said quickly. But I could hear the lie in her voice. It was paper thin. I'm not interested in fake family dinners, I told her. You made your choice when you ditched my housewarming party and went to Chez Laurent instead. Clara. I hung up, then blocked her number. That was the final line for me. These days, my life is simple and better. I talk to Grandma every single week. Sometimes we meet up at the lake house for dinner or long walks. Sometimes she comes to visit me at the apartment. We laugh, we eat, we tell stories. Real ones, hard ones. Ones I never heard before because I was always being pushed aside or overlooked. She tells me about her life, about Grandpa, about what it was like to raise my dad, about how much she sees of herself in me. And I believe her. She's the only one who's ever really seen me. My parents and Rebecca, they can keep their fancy restaurant dinners, their empty apologies, their manipulation. I'm done waiting for them to treat me like I matter. I'm done trying to earn their approval. I built this life myself. My apartment is beautiful. My lake house is even more breathtaking. My mortgage is almost paid off. And the best part? I didn't owe any of them a single thing. Not a thank you. Not a second chance. Not an explanation. Sometimes family isn't who you're born to. It's who shows up when you need them. And for me, that's Grandma Rose. Always was. Always will be. As for the rest of them, that's their loss, not mine.